So for today's video, it starts as they always do with a note to myself, and this one reads, "How I avoided financial ruin and moved to Thailand." Because it is a lot cheaper here. It really is. I think money is a very obvious, strong motivator for guys to change up their retirement plans and come to Thailand or come to Southeast Asia or some other lower cost of living location. But in addition to the money, and I'll kind of focus on money, but in addition to money, guys come here out of loneliness, which of course we tend to royally screw up. Lots of videos on that. I won't get into that much today. And then the weather. And for me, where I live, it's typically hot and dry, which I really like the hot, dry weather. It's great for my arthritis. I come from a state, Michigan, with really kind of awful weather. It's the number one reason people leave the state. That and the taxes. Michigan's a high tax state and has terrible weather. No clue as to how the real estate prices are so high with those two factors, but they are. So I was really fed up with having good weather 5 months. If you really get into it, and if you're even pretty liberal, it's no more than 5 or 6 months out of the year, really. Here it's 11 months. There's generally 1 month a year, and it can vary year to year depending on how if humidity comes or not, how much rain you get or not, and on and on. But generally April is my least favorite month. Another non-monetary reason guys come here is, I think, a sense of adventure. For me, that was a big factor. I wanted a sense of adventure. I really did. I think that about covers it. So let's talk about the money a little bit. So right now, the baht and the dollar are trading against each other at right around 30 to no more than 31 baht to the dollar. When I arrived, it was 35 to 36, and it went up to 38 briefly, but it stayed at 37 for maybe almost half a year, which that was rich then. That's money you'll feel. That's a lot of money. So things are down a little bit. I got to be honest, and I'll not bore you with my limited knowledge of international monetary policy, but as I understand it, it's much easier to grow an economy if your currency is of a lower value. And in the U.S., our leaders are trying to grow our economy, and I'm not going to. This is not a political channel. We will not be getting into political stuff, and anybody who makes strong political comments will be banned from my channel because I'm not. That'll just make everything ugly, and I got enough controversy on my channel as it is. So I think that's what you're seeing, and that's probably gonna, as I understand it, that's gonna probably be a popular idea for a while. I'll put it this way. I'm making my plans based on this is the new normal. It's kind of like post-COVID. After about a year or so into COVID, I was talking with some of my close friends, and I said, I think this is going to be like at least 5 years. My gut's telling me this is going to be the new normal, I'm sorry to say. And it kind of is, because that was 5 years ago, almost 6 years ago now. And yeah, almost 6 years ago now. And it's still kind of things still haven't really quite, in my opinion, gotten totally back to normal. For me, that's what I would observe, and that's what I would say. You can make your own decision on that. I have no opinion on any of that stuff. If I even in mentioning it, I risk having my channel demonetized. It's a very sensitive subject in the social media platforms, and it's not my problem. I moved over here. I solved all my problems on my own with my own plans, and I recommend strongly that you do the same thing, because no one's coming to save you. I got news for you. It's bad news. No one's coming to watch Active Self-Protection. That's one of the few channels I ever talk about here. The host of that show is quite a rational, reasonable guy, and he's always saying, no one's coming to say. You can dial 911, and in 10 minutes, maybe a cop will show up. In the meanwhile, you're being stabbed. You're going to have to say. It's a really sad reality, but people have to kind of save themselves, and this is kind of one of those situations again. Your retirement and fixing it's going to come down to you. So this worked out well for me. Okay, so fine. So what did I do? Let's talk about money a little bit. So I want to segue off into Vietnam, because I just did a trip to Vietnam for 5 days, had a great time, and I didn't do a Vietnam video, and I'm probably not going to. I just didn't see enough different there And I took a lot of pictures and stuff, and I could talk about it, but I just didn't really see enough there to make a whole video out of. Nice guy here. A high status boss here gave me a nice Y, and I gave him one back. Very complimentary, feels good. Aside from my splurges, I like being frugal, was my point there. And so I have chosen to retire in the Isan region of Thailand, which is a very low-cost region, and maybe the lowest cost. We'll call it likely is. I just can't say that because I haven't gone to every single region and checked every single spot, okay? But it's certainly one of the cheapest. Where I live, I'm out on the outskirts of Korat, this big city of Korat, which is Nakhon Ratchasima, which I'll put on the screen, which is a province and a city. So keep in mind there's two of them. There's the whole province, which is gigantic, technically bigger than the province Bangkok is in, and it'll piss off Bangkok people, but in terms of acres of land, it's bigger, it's big, okay? The city is much smaller, which I like. The city of Korat is paw D. It's just the right size, or just the right amount. That's what that means. And it has everything I need, even on a monthly basis. The only time I have to go to Bangkok is if I need to physically go to the embassy for something, which is super rare. Living out here, and in my book it's detailed much better, so I don't repeat the whole thing. But you have big, expensive areas like Bangkok and Phuket and Pattaya are pretty pricey. And in fact, if a guy isn't careful, it's very easy for guys to end up spending. This happens all the time. You hear about it all the time. Guys end up spending the same amount of money here that they would have back in their home country. So they didn't save anything, and then these guys often go broke and have to go back to work, unretire. Very unhappy guys. Kind of a sad story. I would hate to be in that situation. That I would really not like. Don't do that, please. So I'm managing my costs by staying in Thailand, and I moved, and it was my first move. I landed in the city of Korat, stayed there for a while, dated, and kind of got acclimated, and then I moved out here, out to the outskirts, and found a spot. Another spot I don't talk about that you could also look at if you're thinking of Korat would be Pak Thong Chai. I just forget to mention it. One of the first girls I dated was from there. A beautiful city, and just on the outskirts of Korat. It's a little further away than I am from the city of Korat, but it's still pretty convenient, and it is a pretty little downtown, in all fairness. And it's on the south side. I'm on the north side. That's on the south side, so it's even closer when you want to go to the beach or go to Bangkok for something. You've got a 45-minute head start, which would be nice, right? Maybe even longer than that. It's like an hour head start. It really helps. Anyway, so there's that. And then if I really needed to save more money, and this is, again, detailed in my book better. I won't walk you through the whole thing. But then if I go more north and more east, because the Isan region where I live is the northeast region of the country, the more north and east further I go, the more Isan it becomes, and the cheaper it gets. Now you're going to need to have to be fully the self-entertaining model if you're going to live out in a place like that, because you got nothing and more nothing mostly, so you have to be careful with that. I like the nothing and more nothing sort of lifestyle on a general hour by hour and daily basis, but you'll also notice I take my big bad motorcycle and I ride to Korat and back, typically one every other day. And I'll go 2-3 days in a row. After the third day in a row, I'm going, all right, that was a lot, and I have a bare minimum workout equipment in my home, which I can use, which I might do today. Today's shoulder day, and shoulders are really easy to do at home. Doing that. Getting a nice admiring look from a young lady here who's married and knows I'm married and shouldn't be doing that. That's back on grooming and personal appearance. That's another video. I really want to do a video. I might do that one next. I got an interesting story to tell. I got a crazy story to tell that's informative, not just gossipy. It's super informative. But anyways, back to this money thing. So with the old exchange rate of, let's just call it 36, because that was the average for the first 3 years I was here, 36 baht to the dollar, I was about 5 times wealthier living here than back home. I'm probably down to only 4 times wealthier right now. Still a lot. Hey, lucky for me, I bought my motorcycle and built my house at the high exchange rate. That doesn't help you. But I could have bought cheaper things on both. I mean, the motorcycle I bought was insane expensive. I won't walk you through the whole thing, but that's a $40,000 motorcycle. Now, it was my dream bike. I had the money literally saved for it, planned for it. I could have, it was on the higher end of my budget, but it wasn't past my budget. So I did it. I just going half measure on that. It just felt like, I just cheaped. That one I didn't want to do. And on the house, I mean, it's a nice house. I could have built it a lot cheaper. I got 2.5 million baht in the house with the wall and everything. Could have done a way cheaper wall. I mean, the wall was 400 grand. I could have built a wall for 200 grand easy. The house was 2.1 million for 110 square meters of home, plus the garage. I would have been happy at $1 million baht home. I could have built a house for $1 million baht that I would have been happy in. I could have spent half what I did and still been happy. So I call it my Bohemian Mansion, and that is the perfect term for that house, because on one hand, it's a $60,000 house. Sue me, I spent 60 grand on a house. That's not bragging, and that's not showing off, and that's not being a millionaire or anything. On the other hand, it looks pretty fancy because I knew what I was doing. I got great prices on stuff. I got the low price for a Thai man on everything. There are Thai people that spend more for a house and spend it less efficiently than I did. And there's lots of Thai people that buy a house much less efficiently than what I did. I had the knowledge, and I had massive support from Fauna and her mom and dad, who I would like to point out to you speak fluent Thai and the fluent local cultural language of the Korat language, where you really get the bargains. So I speak a tiny bit of it, and I know it I recognize it when it's being spoken, but I really can't speak it. But I know a couple keywords. I can throw a keyword out once in a while at the right time and freak people out. But it's a parlor trick. It's not. I really can't speak that language. Okay. What else? Anyway, so those are my initial thoughts on saving money. Let me dive into the video. I took some short video clips and some photos. Let me dive into the let's do a little Vietnam segment, okay? And I'll walk you through that, and then I'll circle back at the end, and I'll close this out, and we'll see what conclusions we can kind of draw together. I think I like that idea. Okay, all right. Here comes the slides. So I just sorted through the slides here and picked sort of strategically a random smattering of everything. That was one of Fawn's first airline meals, I think. And here's me and Kevin in front of a Christmas tree. This was a Christmas trip a couple months back, and I will attempt to show some of the beauty and such of Vietnam. And it is a pretty country, absolutely a pretty country. I would say probably the same as Thailand. Where Laos is possibly but again, severely hampered by the completely inadequate road network that makes travel impractical for older people like myself, in all honesty. You'll just see there's a little ceremonial Christmas cigar with Kevin on a rooftop bar. We had a lot of fun, a lot of good things. And we did see that sort of 20% lower cost tailwind. We, after a few days, realized we were spending less than we normally do on a vacation. And that's nice. But again, the Vietnamese language is insanely difficult. The tones are super sky high. Maybe a woman could speak it. I doubt a Western man could speak it at any kind of reasonable level. So I will have to absolutely say I have a complete preference for Thailand. There was zero thoughts that, oh gosh, I made the wrong choice. That thought never crossed my brain, I'll tell you that. But it's a very reasonable place, and the people were friendlier than I was told. The other Westerners here all said the Vietnamese were completely unfriendly, and I would say that's not true. Probably an issue with the other guys. But not the same real open friendliness of the Thai people. That just not quite the same level. They have problems with flooding here. It is a poorer country, and you can see that. It's run by a communist government, which is inherently less efficient. And so there's just a lot of little inconveniences here and there with things. This is the type of boat they have there, for example. It was really cute on that little boat ride with Fawn. This was a hard trip for her. She was totally out of her element, and she was not comfortable and not happy. Just crawled out of bed. I didn't get to sleep till almost 2 a.m. It was a rotten flight coming in. No choice. Fawn had to work, and it takes so much time to get here. And
I'm gonna refrain from commenting on the efficiency of communist government, but anyways, we're here. It's got kind of a rough end of Chicago vibe to it, but I'm told it's not dangerous. Okay, so first 2 seconds I'm in Vietnam. This is a budget hotel. I didn't pick it. I just said I wanted something convenient. I do know, however, that 2 coffees and a little tiny egg tart cost 128,000 of whatever the hell their dollar is, which translates to, according to my Apple Card, which Apple Card works here, which is a huge victory, $4.86. So far the coffee is probably a little more expensive than back in Thailand, certainly back in Korat. That's the quickest I've ever spent $1.5 million. Great time though. Hang on, now we're leaving the rooftop bar and we're on the walking street equivalent in Vietnam. It's the lifetime brisket record right there. There's Kevin and his wife sorting out our taxi ride. There's fun. We're all tired. It's almost 10 o'clock and I'm old and that's late. This is as late as I ever stay out and I'm comfortable with that. It is what it is. But amazing dinner, amazing cigar. Jack Daniels is always good. Hanging with Kevin. Just walking around in a warm but not unpleasant, actually a rather pleasant evening. That is, I was expecting hot and it's not. I did wear a muscle shirt, so it's what it is. But I wore nice shirts all week, but now I'm taking a break. Looking for some food in Ben Tre, Vietnam. We had some very interesting conversations about all this, which I will be sharing. Hang on, spin around, spin around. It's very pretty, very, very pretty. Wouldn't trade it for Thailand, but it's very pretty. Little old Rob here in the remote village in Vietnam just paid 63,000 of their dollars for 2 cans of diet soda and some chips. I need snacks for Fawn to have. Fawn's freaking out because there's no Thai food in, well, there actually is Thai food in Vietnam, but not much, and not much that she'll eat. And she's a fish out of water, and she is not liking it. Wow, another rough day, retired overseas. There's my view. Waiting on my car. I went and asked the cafeteria here if they said they opened at 6 last night, all in English, because this is Vietnam. I don't know diddly anymore. I've been demoted to not knowing anything about anything. It sucks. That part of it kind of sucks. And they're getting my coffee for me. Normally they point you to where the stuff is and you make your coffee here. Nope, they're going to bring it to me. So that's cool. So I'm re-editing a YouTube video right now. I just put it in my queue to go live, and then I thought about it, like, yeah, I didn't like how a couple things were a little rough. It just didn't look quite right. So I'm gonna pull it down and I'm redoing it and I'm gonna put it back. So you'll never know the difference. But I try to do the reasonable best that I can. I mean, I am retired. There's a lot of limits as what I am and am not gonna do, but. You know, I try to get it at least pretty reasonable. So anyhow, but beautiful. Kevin will come along whenever. In the meanwhile, I'm gonna enjoy my own company. Rob, so how immersed are you? Well, have you eaten any fish or other? I don't know what most of this stuff is. I probably don't want to know, to be honest. I'm kind of a squeamish sort of guy. Yeah, you know, big old tough Rob ain't so tough. Anyways, it's I like the beauty of the architecture though. I dig the check this out. Look at it. I dig the architecture. Sinuk mine. Sinuk sinon. This is a bit interesting. We've been going for about 15 minutes or so, and see we got a full canopy over the river at this section. Fawn's a little scared, but she's hanging tough. So let me just back up to put myself in your shoes a little bit. So when I looked at retiring, which came suddenly and unexpected and all that, so I met with my financial advisor, and he warned me that I was at significant real risk of being broke within a few years after
retiring because I just had the divorce, which you lose half of everything with. And then I retired at the same time as the divorce, which is a terrible idea, but that wasn't of my choosing. And then I was also forced retired early, so my one of my retirement accounts had not yet matured. Immaturity was a problem throughout my entire life. That's a separate issue, and so the cost of healthcare in the U.S. would potentially wipe me out, particularly with all my health problems that had now emerged. So this solved all those problems, and I was massively lonely. Solved that problem, and I just wanted some time to lick my wounds and regroup and straighten out a new course of life that would make me happy. Solved, and more solved. This whole thing has worked out really, really well for me, but I've put a lot of work in. And I don't say that to brag about myself. Hey, what a hard worker I am, because who wants to work hard when they're retired? But it's like this. The retirement's like everything else. The more effort you put in, the more you're going to get out of it. And the guys that go down hard here tend to be the guys that put in no effort. That's according to everybody I know here. We all see it. It's super obvious. There's just no getting around that. So I'd encourage you to make some plans and put in some effort towards those goals that you want. Now I'm kind of living the dream, to be honest. I'm hesitant to say that, but it just is what it is. Every day is just like, wow, Jesus is awesome. I mean, it's really great. So that's the backdrop. That's possibly your backdrop. So there you go. So, Thailand versus Vietnam versus Laos and all that. As you'll see, I think you're better off focusing on where you think you might like. Like if you are just a huge natural beauty and hiking guy, you'd have to consider Laos. It's a breathtakingly beautiful country. Even the Thais say it's prettier than Thailand, and they're like a very proud culture, as every culture should be. I'm proud to be an American. I'm proud to come from Europe. Everybody should be proud of who they are and all that. And the Thais are kind of that in an extreme, and the only country they lay that kind of praise on is Laos. So that let that tell you something. Vietnam is probably maybe as pretty as Thailand. It's certainly a very beautiful country. I really just prefer the Thai people. The Lao people are a lot like the Thai people. They're kind of a brother-sister culture. The Lao language is some shade of gray to almost identical, possibly, of the Isan language in Thai. So they're extremely closely related people. If you like Thailand and the Thai people, you'll get along great in Laos, and your Thai language will work perfectly in Laos. I spoke with them back and forth. I never had a language problem. So, what else can I tell you? So the guys that go, well, here you go for this, here you go for that. I think that's a false beacon for you. I think limiting your research to money only and exchange rates only, I think is going to shortchange you. To put a pun on it there. I think you're better off looking at lifestyle and what you think you'd like. Vietnam, I think if you want more isolation and less involvement with the local people, Vietnam will be great because the language barrier is gigantic. I clearly have some ability to learn some kind of foreign Asian type language, whatever that is. And I tell you, if I was living in Vietnam, my goal would be to learn how to say hi and thank you and learn to say 8 words or something in a year. The tones are insane. I watched their mouths working. I began to pay attention as they would say a particular word, and they were making 5, 6 tones, different tones in one word. Thai has 1 or 2 tones to a word, and that's really hard. 5? Are you kidding? So if you look at Vietnam, I would warn you on the language. It's super, super, super tough. It looks to be way tougher than Thai, to be honest with you. And it'll come down to food, what kind of food you like. Now, in Vietnam, they're big beef eaters, and the steak there and the beef brisket there, that is the best beef brisket I've ever had in my life. That I was blown away, and it's dirt cheap. If you want to dine out and dine out cheap, Vietnam is your play. As everybody knows that watches my channel, I'm not a food guy. So, and the Thai food's awesome. So I'm more than happy with the food here. Um, I really like the people and the weather. Now it was hotter in Vietnam. During the week we were there, which was just before Christmas. Um, it was significantly hotter, like 10 Fahrenheit hotter, and maybe a little more humidity as well. Again, I live in an arid region of Thailand. A lot of Thailand's humid, but I live in an arid region. I don't know if Vietnam has it or not. Probably does, but you'd have to sort that out and do your research like I did. And then back to Laos. Again, that same kind of weird 20% cheaper. And I checked. I really checked to give you a good number. And they're both right around 20% cheaper overall than living in Thailand. But again, I've managed my costs by living in the Isan region and living in a lower cost area of the Isan region, because I could live in Khon Kaen. I don't know how much money I'd be saving in Khon Kaen. That's a big, sophisticated city. Out here in the rice fields outside of Karat, it's pretty cheap. And with the dollar gone down from 36 to like 30, 31, I'm still fine. I just did my budget for the year, which I'll be sharing in an upcoming video. And I'm looking real. I was shocked. I was very shocked at how good I'm looking, and I'll share that. My spending's been a little higher the last few years because I've been building a life. Major spinal surgery. Hope you don't need that one. Building a house. I did a little more than I needed, as I've elaborated already. I have a full video, 2020 hindsight on the house build if you're curious, but still, 60 grand isn't a lot of money. And then bought a motorcycle, and we're just in the process of completing the purchase of a car. So, but I was looking at my finances, and I'm like, I've probably got at least 5 years where I'm not going to be buying anything big. I'm just going to be I'm going to be in SpongeBob filter feed mode, just kind of cruising along going with the flow. So, to any extent I've spent a bit lately, that'll all be rebuilding over the next 5 years. I should be just fine. Everything, so I think I'm good. So this move did solve all my financial problems that I was going to have retiring in the U.S., and it solved all my other problems. And as I've said before, maybe the same case for you. Most of my friends that were around my age have either died or are not retiring. Their plan is to not retire. They're going to work until they physically just can't work anymore. That's their plan. That's their choice. I disagree. But so they're really socially, one place or the other, it wasn't as different as you'd think. I mean, a few more people over there, sure. But I've made a couple of good friends here. And I've been kind of on this funny journey. I've just been wanting to take a break and pause everything and just kind of focus on me and getting healthy and healing. Kind of went through a lot the last year before I moved here. That was, as you can tell, it was kind of a lot all at once. And I'm just kind of recovering from all that. And that's been 5 years since that started. So anyhow, there's your thoughts on the different areas, the three major, maybe some of the most popular Southeast Asian retirement destinations for Westerners of Laos, Vietnam, and Thailand. And I'm going to be Team Thailand all the way on that. I'm really happy here. It's worked out well for me. I love how the people care for me and are so kind to me and friendly. And so, but choose wisely, make your own choice. Thanks. This is Rob. Video's over. I'm closing my gate. But if you've been liking or subscribing, and praise God if you've been a member of the channel, I really appreciate you. I appreciate everyone that watches. You have a great day.